Okay, so we're going to do number 2. Make sure you write that up here. What's number 2 asking us to find? Couldn't hear you. Say it again. Good. Area of a circle. So we can abbreviate area of and then draw a little circle. That works. What formula will I use?
Area equals pi r squared.
Good. Pi r squared. Okay, there's a difference between pi r squared and pi r2. So for my estimation, I'm going to write my formula. A equals pi r squared. And then number 2 looks like this. Now, what's the difference between number 1 and number 2?
It gives you the diameter on 2.
You have the diameter, and on number 1 it gives me radius. Now, my formula asks for radius, so what do I do if I'm given the diameter?
Divide it by 2.
Yeah, I have to take 25 and chop it in half or divide by 2. What's 25 divided by 2? 12 and a half. Okay. Now, since I'm estimating, what do I change pi into? 3, right? I'm going to use 3 for pi. And then I said that 12 and a half was my radius, but again, I want to estimate, so what can I change it to?
12 or 13.
Yeah, 12 or 13. Let's try 13. So I have area equals 3 times 13 squared. Order of operations tells me I should do what? Yeah, I have to do 13 times 13. And what is 13 times 13? 169. But again, I'm estimating. Can I change 169 to something easier? I would. Let's change it to 170. So 17 times 3. If you don't know it, we can pull to the side and multiply it out real quick. 51.
I got 50.
And then add a 0. 510. And then what are my units? Millimeters, and they are squared. Millimeters squared. Your answer will be a little bit different if you chose to round to 12, but that's okay. It's still an estimation. The goal is to have numbers that are easy enough for me to kind of do in my head or do really quickly. Now for the actual answer, I'm still going to write my formula. A equals pi r squared. If you're at home, what are you going to use for pi? 3.14. And my radius was?
12.5.
Yeah, 12.5. Make sure you use the original radius, not the rounded. Okay, 12.5, and that's getting squared. So, I'll show you how to do it if you've got an older calculator, and then I'll show you how to do it if you've got a nice kind of expensive one, I guess. So I have 3.14, which is pi, but can I do anything with the pi yet?
No.
What do I have to do first? Good. 12.5 times 12.5, and I get 156 and a fourth, or 0.25. Now, I can write this down for this answer if I want to. Now, what do I do with this 156? Multiply by pi. If I don't have a pi button, I would put 156.25 and multiply by 3.14. Can you see that? And you get 490.625. Now, are there directions about rounding on the homework?
Round to the nearest tenth.
To the nearest tenth. Good. So if I rounded this to the nearest tenth, 490.6. Good.
Mr. Tegan?
Yeah.
Mine got 190.1.
That's okay. I'll show you. If you probably use the pi button, it'll give you a little bit of a different answer. So on this, on the calculators we have here, or a newer kind of more expensive one, we can plug in everything all at the same time. So I could say second and then the pi button, and it shows me pi. And then I'm multiplying that by 12.5, but I'm also squaring it. And notice my square button is this one right here, x to the second power. And so it's all right there. This kind of calculator already knows how to do order of operations, and so it'll do 12.5 squared and then multiply by pi. And when I get there, it says 490.873. So the 7 makes the 8 turn into a 9. So it's going to be off by a little bit, but you still get 490.9. So either one of these is just fine. It just depends on whether you have the pi button or you're using 3.14.